Pokemon only ever goes up, and if you don't buy the cards now, you're gonna miss out. The scalpers are gonna take everything. The prices never come down. You have to buy now. Don't stop buying. I'm sure you guys have seen many things very similar to this online from different content creators, resellers, rip and shippers, people who own stores and whatnot, basically telling you that Pokemon's only ever going to go up, and only ever does go up, and if you don't buy things now, then you're basically missing out. And I'm here today to show you how this is pretty much unequivocal bullshit, and how basically everything oscillates in this hobby, and your goal is not to buy on the high, it's to buy on the low, kind of like stock trading. My name's Pokerado, I'm primarily over on TikTok, and I help people navigate this crazy-ass hobby. So the first important thing I want you guys to understand when looking at this kind of stuff, when you hear it from content creators, when you hear it from different people online, it's not everybody, but it is a significant portion of the community who is trying to sell you stuff where they talk about how hype things are and how it's going to continually go up. And there are tons of people buying stuff left, right, and center that is way overpriced or way overhyped instead of being a little bit patient. And patience in this hobby goes a very, very long way. So today we're going to look at Journey Together, we're going to look at Surgic Sparks, probably look at some Prismatic, and look at some old stuff that how things get hyped up and eventually have price corrections. Now, first up, we're going to look at Journey Together. Now, Journey Together sealed prices is still staying up there, about $200 to $220 per box, but that makes no sense because guess what? The singles are dropping like a rock. Here's the Lily's Clefairy here, going from $320 all the way down to $160. So if you had waited on this card just literally a month and a half, this would have been way more affordable and way more reasonable for a chase, because traditionally in Pokemon, now this was back in the day, it really doesn't follow anymore since 2020, because 2020 kind of brought in a lot more hype into the market overall, and there's a hell of a lot more demand. But it used to be that the biggest chase cards were anywhere between $100 to $200, and that was it. Now we're seeing sets where the chase cards are, there's multiple that are $100 to $200, and some that are going all the way up to $400, $500, $600 and beyond. It's been absolutely insane how big the prices have been over the last few years for some of these cards. But waiting just a little bit causes card to plummet like crazy. And I know what you're thinking, oh, maybe it's just that one card. It is a trainer card. Not many people really like Lily or Clefairy except for the horny Japanese guys. But yeah, no, it's across the board. We go over here to, let's say, Salamence here. Beautiful card. $240 all the way down to $85. Dropping like a rock. Iono's Belly Bolt, here we go, same thing. Went up to $130 all the way back down to $66 right now. Opzation, $180 all the way down to $60. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to be picking up a lot of these cards. Why? Because I waited. I'm not going to be paying $180 or $140 or even $100 for this card. Because I know it's probably not going to be worth that, and it's probably going to take a long time for it to get back up to those prices in general. Volcanion going from $60 all the way down to $41 here. That's probably where it will stay. It might get a little cheaper. Volcanion's a card that very rarely gets printed, but not a lot of people like Volcanion, so you know. Which I think it's cool, because it's a water-fire type. You don't see that very often in Pokemon. In fact, I think it's the only water-fire type. And even the golds dropping like a rock. I mean, you could go through pretty much anything here in Prismatic. All of them have been dropping like crazy and becoming very reasonable in their prices, including the IRs here. I mean, I remember when this Reshiram here was through the roof. Yeah, $40. It's already dropped down to $10, guys. Just waiting a little bit. Instead of buying on all the hype, instead of buying all these pre-orders, instead of expecting everything to always go up, that just waiting a little bit caused that to happen. Now, some people will say Journey Together's not that hype of a set. Of course it was going to go down. What about other sets like Surgic Sparks, where a single pack is $10, $12 right now, and a booster box is like $250? Surely those cards are going up through the roof. Like this Pikachu here. This Pikachu, if you didn't buy it at $500, wait a minute, hold on. Oh, $293. Let's. This one has This one's dropped quite a bit. It's almost like it was overhyped for a very long time here, and it's coming back down to earth as a reasonable card, reasonably priced. I still think it's a little too high. On TikTok, I predicted this thing being about $250 before the hype started, because remember, this set started kind of around the hype that things happened last year, because last year nobody wanted Pokemon, nobody cared about Pokemon, everything was super cheap, and this came out. I was saying, it'll probably be a $250 card. The hype happened, jump up to $500. Everyone called me an idiot here, and now it's fallen. So I wonder who's the real idiot, someone who bought it at $500 or someone who waits until $290. And it's pretty much across the board for the rest of Surgic Sparks. Here's the Latios. Love this card. Absolutely beautiful card. Goes very, very well with the Latios. I just don't know why they added Mesprit. I do not like the Emotion Trio. I get it. It kind of goes with it, but it's a beautiful card. Don't get me wrong. I like the Mesprit. But, yeah, I've never cared for those Pokemon in general, so I don't know why they added that. They could have very easily had, like, a Rayquaza with this, which would have kind of gone with the theme. But, yeah, 260 all the way down to 180. Milotic, 155, going all the way down to 108. Even the golds, 120 for this card, dropping all the way to 60. Here's one that I talked about on my TikTok a couple months ago, this Alolan Executor, because I really, really wanted it, because I thought it was a really cool card. I love how goofy it is with the head bending back here. The rainbow actually looks really good on it. The terrestrial crowns looks really good on bigger Pokemon. Smaller Pokemon, it looks like it's eating their head. But really loved this card, really wanted to get this card, and when it came out, it was $100, and I was like, I think that's too pricey for this card. Dropped down to around 55, right around here in February when I bought it. And now it's gone even cheaper. So even then, I didn't get it at the best price, but it's a hell of a lot better than spending $100 on this card. And even the trainers, same thing, going from $65, plummeting all the way to $45. I just recently bought this. I think I got it for $40 on eBay. Beautiful copy of this card, mainly because I like the Altaria in the background. I'm not a big fan of the full art trainers in general, but I do like the Altaria kind of like popping in a selfie there. Okay, so now let's talk about the elephant in the room, a set that is not following this. Be patient and the prices will come down, and it's Prismatic. Now, Prismatic across the board, the prices are coming down for a lot of the cards, but some of the cards have actually gone up. You can see here with the Moonbryon, it's gone from, $1,600 all the way down to $1,300, which is a significant drop in price. The problem is that's still way too damn expensive for a modern card. Now, Prismatic has ridiculously hard pull rates. It is by far the single hardest set to pull anything in we've ever seen. More than the Gold Stars, more than Alt Arts. Prismatic is the set that has the hardest pull rates by far. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know how this set's going to go. I think it'll be significantly cheaper in the future, but I think it's going to take a very, very long time for this set, for the singles in this set to come down to normal, simply because the pull rates are through the roof. The scalpers love this stuff. This is still the only thing the scalpers are consistently scarfing up. They've pulled back a little bit on Prismatic. They've definitely pulled back on Journey. They've pulled back on other things like Twilight Masquerade, and you're starting to see a lot of price corrections for those sets, but this one is not really doing it. In fact, I think some of the cards have even gone up. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, the Leafeon's gone up from what it was at. And I think the Vaporeon has also, the Vaporeon has also gone up. So certain cards are going up, certain cards are going down. My best advice for Prismatic is just see how much they print. They are putting out more and more of this stuff, but the problem is the pull rates are so hard, these prices might stay high for a lot of these cards. So I would look into getting something like, if you want them in your collection, PSA 8s, different things like that, because they're going to be way cheaper than the 9s or the 10s. Probably be well under the ungraded copies. Things like the Raging Bolt, yeah, this one's gone up. It went up to a certain price, it stayed there. But look at the volume here. Only one sale per day, if that, in the last 6 months. So people are not really selling this card. There's 72 sellers with 76 on TCG alone, and only one a day is being sold, or one every, let's go to the 1 month. Yeah, maybe one a week is being sold. Good gosh, that's crazy. So these prices are all over the place. This set's going to have a lot of oscillation. Best advice is just find some point to get in that you think is reasonable for these cards, and understand a lot of them may be a little higher in general because they're way harder to pull. And last but not least, I want to talk about some upcoming stuff. I told you guys about the Megas. I was talking about the Megas way back here in January/September because I was telling people, look, these cards have been very, very stable. When we started getting leaks for the new Mega game, I was telling people these cards are likely going to skyrocket in price because whenever Pokemon brings something back, it's going to cause the old stuff to have a price bump. Sure enough, we've seen that with the Megas. They've already had it. Some are still pretty cheap, some are still reasonable, but a lot have jumped like crazy. With the black and white stuff coming out, we're seeing the exact same thing. Reshiram cards, Zekrom cards, N cards, anything that is black and white related has seen a price bump, because this card has been a $20 card for the last like 4 or 5 years and is now jumping up into a $50, $60 card like crazy. It's a lovely Reshiram. It's been very undervalued, but you're going to see that across the board. Here's the original black and white Reshiram, which they're literally bringing back a newer version of this card, causing this card to go from a $20 card to a $40 card. So whenever you see stuff coming down the pipeline for Pokemon, expect the old stuff, if it's very, very low price, to have a jump in response to that, because people are going to chase after the originals, because the originals will now have a little bit more value in the collector mind. That's just how the collector mind works. We're weird. I don't know how to say it. And then this card we're going to be watching over on TikTok, because this is a prime example of a card that I think is way overhyped and is going to come down. Because this Reshiram and Zekrom was a $30 card for the last like 5 freaking years, somewhat popping here in the 70s, 80s range for the last few years, and now is up to $250. This is just a standard full art from Cosmic Eclipse, folks. So this is a card that's likely very, very overhyped and will have a massive price correction after things calm down with black and white. So we're going to be watching this card pretty closely, because I'm predicting this card will have a nice price correction just because it's a regular full art, and the rainbow version of it is way cheaper, as is the regular GX version. And then here's the rainbow. The rainbows are significantly harder to find. You would think these would be a little bit higher and a little bit more expensive in general, but they're not. So I think the full art is being way overhyped and will probably come down in price. But just know, whenever they bring forth new stuff, the old stuff that they're harkening back to typically has a price response, and there's just 2 examples, Megas and basically black and white era stuff, because those are coming out with the game, the Mega sets that are coming out. We have a Mega Charizard set coming out, a Mega Lucario and Gardevoir set coming out, or theme decks I think they're focused on, and then of course we have the black and white set coming out, which is a true nightmare. I'm going to do another video on that in general, because that's going to be probably the biggest set in Pokemon history, and it's going to be crazy, especially if they do it like Prismatic, but we will see. So the point of this video, folks, is to show you guys how prices oscillate, and people who hype things up and talk about how things are never going to go down are typically wrong. Pokemon cards, especially for singles, have lots of oscillations and will come down in price. Your goal as a collector is not to spend too much money on the hype side, it's to get those cards as cheap as possible in your collection. Because many of us collectors don't have the mind for reselling stuff immediately. We just want to get cards cheaply so that they at least have some value build up over time, or at least are worth what we paid for them. And I can tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of people who are buying these cards just like in 2020, 2021 at these all-time high prices, who are going to be kicking themselves quite a bit down the road. A lot of people are kicking themselves for vintage cards from 2020, 2021, because remember, people bought the Charizard at $457,000 for a PSA 10, and there was one in Australia that just sold for $140. There was also another auction that sold for $150. So yeah, still tremendously big prices, but they're 60, 70% down from their all-time highs, and people were scarfing up stuff left, right, and center 4 years ago. Pokemon does have oscillations. Now, over time, generally things get more expensive, because if you compare the Charizard now to, like, let's say 2019, 2018, when it was only $50,000, $60,000 for a PSA 10, yeah, it's definitely gone up. But there were a lot of people buying it at $300,000, $400,000, $250,000 that years later it has not recaptured those prices. So be very, very careful on buying on a high. It can really bleed you very quickly and cause you to lose a lot of money in this hobby, whereas if you wait a little bit on certain sets, the prices typically have a nice price correction, they come down, and then you could pick up what you want at your leisure. That's a hell of a lot cheaper. And finally, just be careful who you're listening to online. There are a lot of collectors and a lot of resellers out there who are good people, who will tell you the truth on how things are, but there are people who want to hype things up, who want to keep the prices high because they are making money off it. They have a shop, they have a rip and ship, they have a reselling business, you name it. Be careful listening to them on everything always goes up, when a month later they stop talking about it and the prices have halved. And yeah, my name's Pokerado. I'm mainly on TikTok, but I'm going to try and put out some more YouTube videos here and there. I missed the update for the month of April, so I'll probably do that and wrap up for May. And I'm going to be trying to do some more videos on here in general. We're going to take a look at a 10,000 foot perspective of different sets, like how they'll do long term for collectors, what collectors think, what the collectors do. And then we're going to do a video here probably later this week on freaking black and white, because I'm scared. I'm very scared. Black and white scares the shit out of me. And that's it. Peace out, you goofballs.